You know that feeling when you're completely lost, totally stuck, and then you hear those four magic words, help is on the way? It's one of the best feelings in the world, right? Well, today, we're jumping into this really intense story where a leader makes that exact promise to his followers, but the help he sends is something they never, ever saw coming.
I mean, just picture it for a second. You're stranded on the side of a highway, your car's broken down, your phone is dead. That sinking feeling of helplessness. Now, imagine you finally get a call through, and the person on the other end says, "Don't worry, help is on the way." That incredible shift from total panic to absolute peace, that's the exact feeling we're going to be exploring today.
All right, so let's set the scene. The story we're looking at throws us right into this really tense, super emotional moment. A leader, Jesus, gets his closest followers together and he drops a bombshell. He's leaving. Now, for these guys, the disciples, who've literally left everything to follow him, this is way more than just a goodbye. It's like their whole world is about to shatter.
But right when they're at their most scared, Jesus makes this incredibly powerful promise. He doesn't just say, "Hey, don't worry." He uses this deeply personal phrase, "I will not leave you as orphans." He's looking right at their biggest fear, abandonment, and promising them a future where they will not be alone. So how does he fix this? He's leaving, but they won't be abandoned. What's the solution? Well, what he offers them is, it's something nobody saw coming. It's not a new leader to take his place. It's not a new set of rules. He calls it another helper. And this isn't just a new plan. It's a complete game changer for their relationship with him. So what in the world is this helper? Well, the source tells us it's the Holy Spirit, and it's described as an internal guide, a counselor, and that word internal is everything here. This is a huge deal. This isn't some leader you can see and touch. It's a presence that's going to live inside of them. And this is where things get really radical. See, in the past, under what the Bible calls the Old Covenant, the Spirit's presence was different. It was often external, it was temporary, and it was only for certain people at certain times. But now, the promise is totally different. It's for a permanent internal presence, available to every single follower. That's a massive shift. Okay, but how does this internal helper actually work? It's not like getting a superpower to just be better at following the rules. No, it's something much deeper. It's about completely reordering what they want, what they care about, their priorities. And the way this is explained is with this really great analogy. Think about it like a tree's roots and its fruit. The love for the leader, that's the root system. Following his teachings, that's the fruit that grows on the branches. And the main point is, you can't just tape fruit onto a tree and call it a day, right? You have to nourish the roots. So it really boils down to this. The helper's main job isn't to be some kind of spiritual drill sergeant yelling at you to do better. Its first job is to help you find genuine joy and delight in the leader. Because when that love is real, following what he says isn't a chore anymore. It's a natural, joyful response. So, what does this actually look like in real life? What are the tangible results of having this internal helper? Well, the text breaks it down into 4 key gifts that followers get because of this new internal presence.
All right, let's break these down. First up is love. We're talking a deep, two-way relationship that changes your motivation from just doing your duty to real devotion. Second, you get sight, not with your eyes, but a new spiritual lens to understand the world and your place in it. Third is truth, like an internal compass that helps you remember and apply the leader's teachings right when you need them. And finally, and this one is huge, you get peace. And I really want to zero in on this idea of peace for a second, because it's not what you probably think. It's not about having a problem-free life. I mean, who has that, right? Now, this peace is described as the presence of assurance on the inside, even when the world on the outside is chaotic. It's a stability that comes from within, not from your circumstances. Okay, and this is where the story takes a turn that sounds completely backwards at first. Jesus actually tells his followers that if they really loved him, they'd be happy he was leaving. I mean, what? Why on earth would his departure be a good thing, a cause for celebration? Well, the answer starts with understanding the bigger picture. His time here on earth, believe it or not, is actually described as a state of humiliation. Not that he was humiliated, but that he willingly set aside his full power and glory to live as a humble servant. So his departure wasn't an ending at all. It was actually the beginning of the next chapter. It was his coronation. It was his return to a state of exaltation, taking his rightful place as a glorious king.
So for him, it was a victory to be celebrated, not a tragedy to be mourned.
And here's the ultimate payoff for his followers. Think about it. When he was physically on Earth, he could only be in one place at one time. Super limited, right? But from his new, exalted position as king, bam, he could send the helper to be with all of his followers, everywhere, all at the same time. So, in a wild twist, him leaving actually made him more present to them, not less.
So the key takeaway here is this. The promise of a helper wasn't about getting a substitute teacher. It was a total upgrade. It was a shift from relying on an external leader you could see to an internal guide you could feel. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. How does this idea of an internal helper totally reframe our modern ideas about leadership and what it really means to follow someone?